Okay.
Hey,
Well,
everybody.
hey, everybody. It is 4:29. You are here at the pregame show. We start a minute or two early, and there's always a delay between when we go on and everything else. But we are here for this week's happy half hour, good fun.
I know, especially after that last one, the second to last one in 2020, where Facebook decided not to play nice. Now we have to be extra careful.
Yeah, I still don't know what happened there because we did everything. Amy's really good at this, and Amy's the one behind the scenes that makes all this work. And just it was something to do with because there's Amy. Yes, we're actually feeding our Zoom into Facebook. See, so it's more complicated even than it looks. So I see Martha has said hi.
Hey, Martha.
For those of you who are tuning in maybe for the first time, I'm
Hey, Miranda.
I'm David Shakavich. I'm the president of Carolina Retirement Planners. And this is Sam Shakavich, my partner here in the company, if you will. And every Thursday for how many weeks now is it?
Oh gosh.
I think it's like we're pushing 30. We're probably at 30.
29.
29. So
29.
we've been for 29 weeks, every Thursday at 4:30, we've come to you. The idea is you get yourself a glass of something you'd enjoy, and we'll try to do something educational, but have a lot of fun doing. What are you drinking today, Sam?
Well, I am continuing my my dry January. We're getting close to the end though. As one of my favorite things is Tama tea made right here in Wilmington. I'm drinking the Mango Verde. So it's a sparkling green tea. It's got 0 calories and it tastes amazing.
Well,
so it's
I'm
green
drinking
tea, got that antioxidants.
I'm drinking iced tea also, but I have been unsuccessful. I have enough trouble trying to have a dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, especially these past few weeks. It's been, let's just say there have been incentives to temper you, so, but I will have some wine later. Let's see, who else joined us? We have Wanda, Miranda, Nadine, Martha.
And Rick and Norm.
And Marcy's probably with Rick. Hey, Norm, good to see you.
And Bruce and Bob and Val. Hey, y'all.
And this is also, as we know, a very special day. We always look at what day it is, and what is particularly important about today.
Today is National Sweatpants Day.
Are you wearing sweatpants?
I am. I realized that there's not a graceful way for me to show you the sweatpants that I chose for this occasion. But I am wearing my Tar Heel blue sweatpants, Go Heels, for the occasion, my favorite sweatpants. So if anybody else is wearing sweatpants, I'd love to hear what you've chosen for this occasion. I know that Dad is not wearing sweatpants. I don't even know if you own a pair of sweatpants.
I think I do. They're probably a Cornell red sweatpants, but they aren't branded. Maybe I should write off and get myself a official set of Cornell sweatpants,
Lisa, so Tama tea, I can get this at Port City Produce, which I think is closed for the season. I get this at Veggie Wagon. Actually, if you can get them shipped to you. If you were to go to like Tama tea or Google Tama tea, I believe they have a list of locations where you could get it. I just happen to have a few that are like right within my vicinity that I know I could go to. But I would imagine wherever you are, there's probably someplace local that carries it.
I see Susan has joined us. Ed, it's good to have you with us. Lisa, who's a genuine regular, is here as well. Diane and Teresa. Um,
Hey, I just gotta say, Teresa's my mom. That's my
oh,
mom. Oh,
Hey,
hi,
that's
mom.
okay. So, and Rick, good to see you.
so Dad, it's Thursday. Are you going to go to? We haven't talked about this yet. Are you going to the cabin this weekend?
You know, I think I am going to go to the cabin. As many of you may know, you may have saw my broadcast live from the lake out by the cabin on the kayak. We purchased a cabin this summer looking for a place to go in hurricanes. Long story, but it's in the Uwharrie Mountains. It's like in the middle of North Carolina, south of Asheboro. If you drew a line between Raleigh and Charlotte, about halfway through near Troy is where it is. So it's only about 3 hours away. So you can get there, leave at 3 o'clock on a Friday and still eat dinner there. But I'm going up there alone this weekend. I'm not going to have, Sandy's going to stay home this time. I'm going to go up alone. So
Oh,
yeah, what are you going to do?
ooh, the bleak. Dana and Barb are drinking a Founders KBS. Ooh,
Ah,
and I haven't heard of this maple Mackinac fudge beer. That sounds awesome. And Nadine is drinking drinking a Chardonnay while wearing her UNC flannels.
okay.
I
Another
like it. Go
UNC
deal.
person there.
That is and Rick, I did just Google that. Amy, you did not tell us that it was also National Hug Day.
I know, because we can't be hugging right now. So I kind of just bypassed that one. I was
Well,
like,
we will
eh,
give you all a socially distanced hug here over the thing. Yeah, you know, the funny thing about going to the cabin alone is, you know, if you've been married and you spend every day and night with your spouse for the most part, and you go up to this place all alone, it gets kind of, you know, you kind of miss them, you know, you miss having them underfoot. I mean, around all the time, and it gets kind of lonely. But here's what I figured out what to do. You may not know this, Sam, but uh, we have a cockatiel named Quark.
I do know cockatoo Quark very well.
Yeah, and which is both a subatomic particle and the bartender on Deep Space Nine, but and you know we found that if we left Quark back here in Wilmington when we went up, he got kind of lonely, pulled out feathers and all. So we got a little travel cage, and we bought another cage for him at the cabin. And because of the way it worked, we have more room. We got a bigger cage, twice as big at least, in the cabin than he has at home. And so I keep telling Quark, you know, I bring him up there. It's nice having him around. And to be honest, I think he probably laughs at my jokes more than my wife does. But you know, I keep telling him, hey, Quark, you want to go to the palace? You know, because for me it's a cabin, for him it's a palace. This cage is so big. But that's my solution to going there alone and things like that. But
Oh my goodness.
anyhow.
Um, and before we get started, for those of you who were here with us last week, we talked about Bitcoin. And actually, one of the comments that we got after last week was, when can we expect to see it become more stable and predictable? Well, it's not anytime soon. I just thought this was an interesting tidbit. I pulled up the Bitcoin price, and if during our happy half hour last week you had at that moment invested in Bitcoin, you would be down. Oh, whoa, wow! Even when you would be down 17.85%. I'm laughing because
We talked about it about 10 minutes ago, not even that.
when we talked about it 10 minutes ago, right before the call, you would have been down 14%.
Think about
So,
checking it at the end of the call, at the end of our half hour, we'll see what it's down
yeah,
to.
so you would have lost 3% in the last 10 minutes. So, but also that being said, if you had bought it a month ago, you would have still been up 36%. So it is Oh, now you would have been down 18.27%. So just an interesting follow-up is that it is an incredibly volatile investment. And so we do not, tread very carefully if it is something that you do decide to dabble in.
It is, yeah, it's not something we sell or recommend. It's an interesting thing. We talked a lot about the bubble last time, the South Sea bubble, where Newton lost money, and say a lot of smart people were in Bitcoin. Newton was a smart person. He lost a lot of money in the South Sea bubble a couple hundred years ago. You know, it's just, who knows?
Yes, it's going all over the place.
Today, what are we
Oh
talking
my
about
goodness!
today?
We are talking about one of our favorite topics, and I'm really glad that we get to cover it today. Charitable giving.
That's right. Charities right now need money probably more than ever. I mean, between all the people in need and the drop in income and some recent tax changes, you know, and I thought we'd give a little overview on charity, and there's also been a change just this year, 2021, that will help charities if you know about it, and I want to cover that as well. So we're gonna talk about charities. I'm going to go to the board behind me here.
All right, so I'm gonna make myself small while you go to the board. But something that I found interesting, Dad, is Susan said that while she was growing up, they taught curse words to her friends cockatiel.
Well, yeah, I could do that, I guess. But okay, so let's talk about charities. And I want to start kind of with the big picture. You know, in a society, most societies, but certainly our country, from day one, you know, we all earn money. We earn money with wages. We earn money with investments and interest and things like that. And the government says, well, you know, you can keep a lot of this money for yourself, but realistically, one of the reasons you're able to earn this money is, well, we have roads and water systems and policemen to protect us. We have courts to be sure no one can cheat us, or that we can, you know, and crime, and we have armies to protect us from invasion and all these things. And they said some of this money must go for the public good. So we're going to tax you and send that money to the public good so we can run the country. But they also realized that there are charities out there that are also working for the public good. I mean, if you know, in the mornings when I walk the river, there's a group of people giving out food to the poor folks that are down there. There's lots of people that are doing things for the public good, and they're recognized with charities. And there's like there's all kinds of numbers and ways that charities have been vetted to be sure that they're actually they're giving the money to the poor, using it for the public good. And they're saying, look, you can, instead of paying tax, choose the charity and give some of that money to them yourself. And if you do that, we won't make you pay tax on it. You've actually targeted your money to the public good, and we'll give you a tax break. And that's been there really since day one. And that's the big picture on charities. Now I want to get into more of the deeper into the logistics. And I want to start with your tax return, because we can all picture our tax return. Every year we add up the money we make. We have wages, we have money from our pensions, we have dividends, we have interest, rental income, all the things that we add up. And on that first page, or what used to be the first page of the tax return, Social Security part of it, we added it all up, and we got our adjusted gross income. That was the total money we made. Now we get to deduct something from it. And there's two, Sam, there's two kinds of deductions. What are the two kinds of deductions, Sam? Two ways to deduct money from your income.
Itemized or your standard deduction.
That's right. We can itemize or we can not itemize and take the standard deduction. Now, the government says you can either add up all the certain things you can take off an itemizing. You get so much per person. What's the biggest itemized deduction people get?
Mortgage interest?
Yeah, for most people, mortgage interest is the biggest deduction. There's health and money to charity, and all these things get in here, and we can itemize it. And if the itemized list is bigger than the standard deduction, it makes sense to itemize. Well, what happened 2 or 3 years ago when we changed the law is we essentially doubled the standard deduction. And so now if you're married, and this is 2021 numbers, if you're married filing jointly, the standard deduction is $25,100. If you're single, it's $12,550. It's half of that. If you're over 65, you get another $1,300 to $1,700 on top of it. So in order to make it worth itemizing, you have to have deductions for a typical married couple over $25,000. And where, say, 60% of the people used to itemize, we're now down to 20%. A lot less people itemize. And of course, when you were itemizing, you wrote a big check to charity, you felt good about it, and you gave it to charity. Now that you don't get to take that off your taxes, there's been maybe less people have given money to charity. Now, what they have done is they've said that, hey, last year you could do what was called an above the line deduction, which means I'm going to take it out of my adjusted gross income before this. You could do $300 per return. So if you were single, you could deduct $300. If you were married, you could deduct $300 total. What they did this year is they changed it. It's now $300 per person. So if you're a married couple, you can now give $600 to charity of your charities of your choice, and basically take it off your taxes. You deduct it from your AGI. So that's a big change. You can give $600 more in charitable donations. So keep that in mind as you're planning your charity this year. Well, we got a couple other strategies I want to talk about, a couple other things. Let's say you wanted to give lots of money to charity this year. Maybe you had a charity you really care about, they're in trouble, or for whatever reason, you want to make a big donation. How much can you, if you itemize, how much can you give to charity? Well, it used to be 60% of your adjusted gross income. So if you were making $100,000, you could write a check for 60 and take that off your income. And now your income would only look like 40,000. If you had half that income, 50,000, you could take 30,000 off and show 20 in income. And that was the max you could give the charity and deduct every year. Well, this year it is now, there is no limit. You can give as much to charity as you want. You can give, in fact, more than 100% of your adjusted gross income to charity this year, and spread the excess, the amount that you didn't get to deduct, over the next 5 years. So you should be aware of this. If you'd like to help a charity out, say take a big chunk of money from my IRA and give it to charity, you can do that.
Oh,
now,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it opens up some thoughts. I want to make people aware, because maybe somebody out there, either you or someone you know, would like to do this, or you work with a charity. They should be aware of this, because they may have some people in their congregation or in their group that want to do this. Now, here's another interesting strategy that you may want to know about. And I've used some of these in the past. Let's say, for instance, that this year you're going to bring in lots of money. You're getting deferred compensation, or you sold a property or something like that. You're getting an awful lot of income, and you have a charity you care about. And if you bring this income in, it's going to put you in a really high tax bracket. And you say, boy, this would be a great year to give, I don't know, $100,000, $200,000 to charity or something. But I don't know who I want to give it to. And I don't know if I want to give it to any one charity all at once. I'd kind of like to put it aside and give it out. Well, you've probably heard of things like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Really, billionaires often take parts of their fortune and they build a foundation where they can put the money, they can tax deduct it at the time, and then that foundation gives it out. The trouble is, a foundation is an expensive, complicated thing to set up. You've got to have all kinds of reporting and taxes and things like that, and the laws around it are tough. But there is what I might call the Poor Man's Family Foundation, and it's called a donor advised fund. And with a donor advised fund, you can take a chunk of money this year and you can put it in there. You can invest it, you can have it grow, and then later on, you can decide where it goes. But when you put it in there, you get a tax deduction this year. Okay.
Oh.
So
now,
yeah,
whenever you decide where it goes, does it have to go to a single charity, or can it go to multiple charities?
it can go to multiple charities. They do, however, have to be valid charities. And we have had questions about charities and not-for-profit charities, and more than we can get into here. But the donor advised fund is usually held at an institution. And some years ago, I set up several of them, 2 or 3. And what I had is I had people that said, I want to leave a legacy and I want my kids to share in this. And what we did is we actually put a life policy in here, a permanent life policy. They were able to deduct the premiums. And then when they die, the money in that policy will go to the charities of their choice. And some of them actually said, hey, I'm going to decide where half goes, but I'm going to let my kids decide where the other half goes, to teach them the value of giving and getting them thinking about that.
Yeah.
So,
how much time, once you put money in a donor advised fund, how much time do you have to decide? Is there a time limit?
It's complicated. Some of them require a small amount to be given every year, but essentially it can stay there for a long time. And there's a lot of rules with the donor advised fund. You can only put 60% of your adjusted gross income. You can't put more than that. Again, one of the things I want to mention is all the things we're talking about, you always want to check with your accountant. We're skimming over the top of this. There's more laws and rules, and I just want to teach you the questions to ask and make you aware of some things. But the donor advised fund can be a powerful way to do this. Now, we have one other strategy that I want to talk about over here. Sam, what is a QCD?
A qualified charitable distribution. And I would consider this to be low-hanging fruit.
This is low-hanging fruit. If you have a lot of people out there right now, I'm sure would like to do this if they knew about it.
Absolutely.
And again, it's particularly good because if you're not itemizing, if you're taking the standard deduction and you want to give money to charity, it's difficult. You can give $600, but so here's what a qualified charitable distribution does. Normally, if you take money from your IRA and it goes to your adjusted gross income and it's taxed, and even if you deduct it later, it does something like it might cause you to pay more in Medicare premiums and things like that. They've arranged a way where you can take money from your IRA and bypass your tax return and give it to a charity directly. It's called a qualified charitable distribution. There's two main rules about this. One is you have to be 70 and a half. I guess maybe three rules. You need to be 70 and a half or older to do this. You can give a maximum of $100,000 a year. And if you're of an age where you need to take required minimum distributions, the charitable, the QCD counts towards those charitable distributions.
Towards the RMDs.
Towards, yeah, counts towards the RMDs. Thank you, Sam. So it's a great way. You need it, and this is something, if you have a charity, you want to say, hey, you know, how many people do we have that are over 70 and a half might want to leave us money? And so this is another key thing that more people need to take advantage of.
Absolutely. So if you're over 70 and a half, you have money in an IRA and you're already giving money to charity, then this is a no-brainer. This is something that you can do. A few things of note is that it has to come from an IRA. It can't come from a 401k, a 403b, and it has to go, each company will have specific rules on how they want to get it to your charity, but it has to either be sent directly to the charity, or it has to be a check written out to the charity. It cannot be a check written out in your name that you then give to the charity. So before you decide to do this, you really need to look into the specific rules behind it. Your charity might have specific rules on how they accept it, or where your IRA is held might have specific rules on how they want to send it. So it's just really important to look into those before you make any moves with your money.
And in most cases, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not that hard. You just don't want to make any moves until you know.
We have a number of people that every year do this. We fill out the forms for them, and they're taking money out of their IRA, whether it's in a stock market account at Fidelity or whether it's in an annuity. Those companies I've yet to find one that wasn't set up to let us do a QCD for them. So it's another powerful technique. So I hope, we hope this was helpful. Oh, best part, one other thing. It is 2021, and in most years, what happens is, everything, all the numbers change, all the tax numbers, how much you can deduct, how much your income brackets are, how much you can gift, and we now have the 2021 numbers here in our little cheat sheet that tells you everything you need to know. We are going to send this to our clients in a newsletter. We have not sent a newsletter out for a while with COVID and printing and everything, but we're planning to, or putting it together as we speak, probably be out in February, early February with any luck. But if you would like it sooner, or you're not on our newsletter list, you can get a hold of us, and we will either email it to you, or we can actually have it delivered in paper form suitable for pasting onto your refrigerator door and delivered by a uniformed employee of the U.S. government. Amy, how can they get in touch with us?
They can send us an email at info@carolinarp.com. I'll drop that in the comments here. Or they can even just call the office as well.
Call the office at 815-3100, the old-fashioned way, and tell Susan, hey, or leave a message and say, hey, can you send this to me or email this to me? Again, it's really good to know. And over this coming year, we'll do a lot more on taxes, and it'd be nice for you to have this.
Now, for any of you that may have had trouble seeing the details of this board, we I know that it may have been grainy at times. We can scan this in, and we are happy to email this to you as well. So if you let us know that you would like a copy of this board emailed to you, we are happy to pass this on.
And if you have a charity, a church or a charity you're involved with, and they'd like us to do a Zoom call like this for the members, and we can even record it and post it somewhere. But if they'd like us to do a custom Zoom call, because again, charities need help right now more than ever. And it can be complicated, and it's nice to have someone to simplify it and explain it, and we can at least get them an idea. We'd be happy to do that. Again, either call or email us, and we'll do a custom one for your group alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
right.
Let's see. While she's digging that out, we have let's see. I think Susan, Tallulah. I see a lot of questions we won't have time to get into here. You know, I'm trying to think who we didn't have a chance to say hi to, but we just, in half an hour, it's hard to, well, see what we can do later to get through it or answer it in a future. Every 5 or 6 weeks, we have a question, and we have a session where we answer questions. So.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who may not be familiar with this, every week we do a wine drawing. To enter our raffle, all you have to do is pretty much any way you can think of to contact us to let us know you'd like to get entered. Send us an email, reply to any of our emails that we send out during the course of the week to let you know about the happy half hour. We'll usually have some kind of question in there that you can respond to. Send us a featured topic, a question about our upcoming topic. You can refer our happy half hour to a friend and let us know about that. If you do that and send us a question, we'll put you in here twice. So pretty much any way you can think of, we'll want to put your name in here.
And these are also all recorded. Remember, on our Facebook page, Carolina Retirement Planners, we have about as many people watching that recorded than we do even live. So the recordings have been very popular. You can send links to your friends and they can watch it too.
And so our winner this week of 2 bottles of wine shipped directly to your door from Fermental Bottle Shop that's located in Ogden, a really cool family-owned business, is Gail and Paul. So congratulations, Gail and Paul. You are the winner of our 2 bottles of wine this week. Okay. So for everybody else who entered and did not win, please continue to enter. I love to write your name down and put it in my bucket. And I look forward to hopefully drawing your name next week. We will be with you a week from now on 4:30 for another Carolina Retirement Planners happy half hour. And we will see you then. Cheers, everybody. Cheers.